Hi. So, I haven't planned what I was going to say to begin this one. I will just introduce it. Today, I'm standing in for Kendall. Yes, it's Queen Elsa standing in for Kendall. And I will be reading Cat. This. I haven't read it yet, actually. I've had it for a while. Someone gave it to me. I did work on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Kendall did. Years ago. And this is not one of the episodes Kendall worked on. This was season 4. Hush. I thought it might be an interesting one to read. Because really, who likes reading Buffy, blah, 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 Xander, blah, blah, blah. There's a little less of that. Anyway, I thought you might enjoy it because reading a script is so different from watching the show. And I love Joss Whedon's writing. I seriously enjoyed reading the scripts more than I liked watching the show. I enjoyed the show too. I just really enjoyed the writing in the scripts. If someone asked me to quick pick someone you wanted to work with before you die, I would say Joss Whedon. And I have said that to people who ask me that. I'm sure there are lots of directors I would like to work with, but top of my head, Joss Whedon. I like his writing. Kendall does. So, here we go. I don't know how long this will take. And I hope I have enough battery. We'll see. Find out. Okay, here we go. Elsa reads you a vampire bedtime story by Joss Whedon. Teaser. Interior lecture hall. Afternoon. Day. Yes, I'm reading that. The last rays of the afternoon sun pour into the class, backlighting the students and washing Maggie's face in rich amber as she speaks. Buffy sits near the front, by Willow. Riley stands to one side of the class. Maggie. So this is what it is. Talking about communication, talking about language, not the same thing. It's about the way a child can recognize and produce phonemes that don't occur in its native language. It's about inspiration, not the idea, but the moment before the idea when it's total, when it blossoms in your mind and connects to everything, before the coherent thought that gives it shape, that locks it in, cuts it off from the universal. When you can articulate it, it becomes smaller. It's about thoughts and experiences that we don't have a word for. A demonstration. Buffy Summers. Buffy looks around her. Me? I shouldn't say that. Maggie. Thank you for volunteering. Come down to the front here. Hesitantly, Buffy does. Stands by Maggie. Maggie. Typical college girl, one assumes. Lie down on my desk. Buffy. What? Maggie. Go ahead, you're perfectly safe. Buffy does, pretty embarrassed. Some titters from the class. She lies on her back, propped up on her elbows, and waiting for the next thing. Maggie. Riley, if you could oblige. Riley moves from his spot on the side. He seems quietly angry at Maggie as he says, Riley. A demonstration, right? Maggie. Be a good boy. He moves around to the back of the desk, stands by Buffy. Maggie to the class. A kiss is just a kiss, I believe the line goes. The rest comes from you. Buffy and Riley look at each other, speak softly. Buffy. This feels very strange. Riley. Don't worry, if I kiss you, it'll make the sun go down. He takes her in his arms, and in front of a sea of ogling students, they kiss. Close on Buffy. As the kiss deepens, the light changes. The sun is going down. As she pulls away, it is dark, moonlight the only illumination. Wider angle, the class is empty, just her and Riley. Riley, see? Buffy, fortune favors the brave. She stands as he looks about them. He turns to her, and she puts her hand up. Did she hear something? Very faintly, it can be made out. A little girl humming tunelessly to herself. Buffy, do you hear that? She heads out of class slowly. Riley watches her go, smiles as he whispers to himself, Riley, along came a spider. Interior school, atrium hall, night. Buffy moves slowly through the atrium toward the hall, led by the humming which becomes a nursery rhyme. Little girl, can't even shout, can't even cry. The gentlemen are coming by. Looking in windows, knocking on doors. They need to take 7 and they might take yours. Buffy turns the corner and sees the girl standing facing her at the other end of the hall. Close on the girl's hands. In them is a small box, perfectly square carved wood. Little girl, can't call to mom, can't say a word. You're gonna die screaming, but you won't be heard. Riley comes out as well, a worried expression on his face. He comes to Buffy, reaches silently out to her. Buffy looks back at a hideous, grinning white face that we see for an instant before interior lecture hall afternoon. Buffy wakes with a start. So I'll see you all Monday for a final review session. The class bustles about, getting their stuff together and filing out as Buffy gets her bearings. The light is different than in her dream. Just the nondescript glow of the overheads, a comforting space. Willow is putting her books away. Willow, boy, that was an exciting class, huh? Buffy, oh yeah, wow. Willow, and that last 20 minutes, it was a revelation, just laid out everything we needed to know for the final. I'd hate to have missed that. Buffy, just don't tell me I didn't snore. Just tell me I didn't snore. Willow, you were very discreet, minimal drool. Buffy, oh yay. They head out. Interior school atrium hall, continuing, afternoon. They round the corner, heading out of class. Willow, so were you dreaming? Buffy, yeah, it was kind of intense. They pass Riley without seeing him. He folds in behind them, offering. Riley, intense, really? Because you seemed so peaceful. Buffy, embarrassed. Of course it was only for a moment that... Riley, right, you guys headed towards, Crestwich? Yeah. Buffy, student center. Riley, great, so this dream. Willow stops, deciding to leave them alone. Willow, you guys go, I'm gonna go do the thing. To Buffy, I'll see you after the Wicca group. Buffy, okay. Riley, bye. As Buffy and Riley continue, we stay on Willow, who sneaks over to the arched window from the atrium to the hall to peek out at them. Riley, so tell me about your dream. As a psych major, I'm qualified to go. Buffy, I don't remember it all. We pan to find them rounding the corner and heading down the hall toward camera. Riley, well, did I appear at all in this dream? Buffy, smiling, it may have been a cameo. Riley, is that right? And they pass the arched window where Willow is very subtly holding a book in front of her face. Buffy, a featured role, actually. Riley, romantic lead. Buffy, I'm not saying anymore. As they pass out of frame, Willow drops the book, looking out after them with satisfaction. Exterior psych building day. A few moments later, as the two of them exit and head up the path, Riley, so what have you got going on tonight? Buffy, patrolling. Riley, patrolling? Buffy, petroleum. Riley, petroleum. Buffy, Riley, tonight you have crude oil. Buffy, and homework. What about you? Riley, oh, grading papers. Buffy, well, that'll be fun. Riley, not petroleum fun, but it passes the time. They stop by the wall, about to split up. Buffy, so Riley, I guess I won't see you till... Buffy, yeah. Oh, cat. They are close, leaning subtly in. Could be a kiss. Buffy, what papers? Riley, papers? Buffy, grading what papers? There's just the final coming up. Riley, oh, yeah, no, some late papers. Buffy, oh, okay, neat. Riley, right, so, Buffy, class. Riley, I'll see you then. The moment is blown. They part, each completely unsatisfied by the closing. Buffy gets a few steps away, muttering to herself, Buffy, fortune favors the brave. She rolls her eyes, walks on. Blackout, end of teaser. I still look good. Cat is chasing things. Act 1. Interior, Giles' apartment, day. Giles sits at his table talking with Buffy on the phone. Giles. Can't even shout, can't even cry. Can't even shout, can't even cry. The gentlemen are coming by. It sounds vaguely familiar. You're sure you never heard this as a child? All right, and the girl is holding a box. Nothing else? Well, it certainly could be one of your prophecy dreams, or it could just be the eternal mystery that is your brain. Now check it out. I'll let you know if I come up with anything. Bye-bye. Terrible. Terrible, he shakes it. He hangs up, studies his notes, calls out. Giles. Have you ever heard of a group called the Gentlemen? The person he is talking to is Spike, who appears in the kitchen rummaging through some cupboards, mouth full of crackers. Spike. Group of what? Giles. The Gentlemen. Spike. Don't know him. Giles. You're certain? Spike. No, we're out of Weetabix. Giles crosses to the shelf behind his couch, rummages as he talks. Giles. We're out of Weetabix because you ate it all again. Spike. Get some more. Giles. I thought vampires were supposed to eat blood. Spike crosses to the couch with a snack. Spike. Yeah, well, sometimes I like to crumble up the Weetabix in the blood. Gives a little texture. Giles. Well, since the picture you've just painted means I will never touch food of any kind again, I'm afraid you'll have to pick it up yourself. Spike. Sissy. Why do I try? Exterior. Giles. Courtyard. Continuing. Day. The tenant opposite Giles is going through her mail as she lets herself into her apartment. Xander and Anya enter the courtyard, headed for Giles. They are in mid-argument. Xander. I don't get where this is coming from. Anya. Well, what am I supposed to think? Xander. How can you say I'm using you? Anya. You don't care about what I think. You don't ask about my day. Xander. You really did turn into a real girl, didn't you? Anya. See, and you make jokes during my pain. You don't care about me at all. Xander. I care about you. Anya. How much? He searches for an answer. Anya. What do I mean to you? Xander. Well, we spend... We'll talk about it later. He opens the door and they enter. Interior Giles' apartment. Continuing. Day. Anya. I think we should talk about it now. Giles. Thank you for knocking. Xander. If you don't know how I feel. Anya. I don't. This isn't a relationship. You don't need me. All you care about is lots of orgasms. Bit of a beat there. Xander. Okay, remember when we talked about private conversations? How they're less private when they're in front of my friends? Spike. Oh, we're not your friends. Go on. Giles. Please don't. Anya. This is important. Giles. But why is it here? Xander. Mom said you wanted me to swing by. Giles. Oh, yes, well, I meant after sundown. I need you to take Spike for a couple days. Or for a few days. Xander. What? Spike, what? And Anya. What? Spike. I'm not staying with him. Giles. I have a friend coming to town. I'd like us to be alone. Anya. Oh, you mean an orgasm friend? Giles. Yes, that's exactly the most appalling thing you could have said. Spike. Worse than the blood in the Weetabix? Defeated, Giles sinks back into his chair as everyone talks over each other. Xander. He's not roaming around. If he stays with me, he gets tied up again. Anya. What about us, our romantic evening? Spike. I'm not having these two shag while I'm tied to a chair 3 feet away. Xander. That's not exactly one of my fantasies either. Anya. So you're blowing off our evening because you don't care about me. Xander. I don't want him to come over. Talk to the Brit. Spike. He better have cable because I'm not missing passions. Hey, remember that? Interior Commons. I never watched that afternoon day. Willow sits in the circle of wannabe Wiccas. There are about 10 of them, some in chairs, some on the floor. 2 will hold court particularly, Cheryl and Nicole. As we find them, the circle is quiet, all eyes shut and hands outspread, palms up as Nicole recites. Nicole. We come together, the daughters of Gaia, sisters to the moon. We walk with the darkness. The wolf is at our side. Through the waterfall of power to the blackest heart of eternity. I think we should have a bake sale. Cheryl. I don't know. Nicole. You guys like a bake sale, right? We need money for the dance recital. And you know I do an empowering lemon bunt. As the girls are talking, we focus on one girl in particular. Tara sits on the floor, making herself as small as possible. When she speaks, it is hesitantly, with a slight stutter. When she doesn't, she seems to watch Willow most of the time. If I have to stop, it's because the fridge makes a ka-chunk noise, and I'm gonna cut that out just so you know. It happens. Cheryl, the most important thing is the Gaia newsletter. We need to get the message of blessing out to the sisters. Also, who left their scented candles dripping all over my woman power shrine? Willow, well, this is good. This is all fun. A bake sale, some baked goods there. But there's also other stuff that we might show interest in as a Wicca group. Nicole, like what? Willow, well, there's the wacky notion of spells. Cheryl, well, you missed last week. We did a healing chant for Chloe's ankle, and she said the swelling went right down. Nicole, what is she doing on a mountain bike anyway? Cheryl, she was trying to impress Justin. Willow, I was actually talking more about real spells. You know, conjuring, transmutation. Cheryl, oh yeah, and then we can all get on our broomsticks and ride around on our broomsticks. Nicole, you know, certain stereotypes are not very empowering. Tara, I think that, Cheryl, one person's energy can suck the power right out of the circle, no offense. Willow, no, my energy's always very... You really don't do any spells? The girls look at each other. Who is this loser? Tara, well, maybe... Cheryl, yeah, Tara? Guys, quiet. You have a suggestion? Completely embarrassed by the attention, Tara just smiles and shakes her head. Cheryl, okay, then let's talk about the themes for the Bacchanal. Willow looks defeated. Tara looks at Willow. Words I don't know. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall, night. The girls enter the hall talking. It's crowded and lively. Buffy, so not stellar, huh? Willow, talk, all talk, blah blah, Gaia, blah blah, moon, menstrual, life, force, power. I thought after a few sessions we'd get into something real, but Buffy, no actual witches in your witch group. Willow, bunch of wanna blessed bees. It's just a fad. Nowadays every girl with a henna tattoo and a spice rack thinks she's a sister to the dark ones. They enter Buffy and Willow's dorm room, night. Buffy, sorry it was a bust. I know you were looking to go further in that department. Willow, well, I'd like to float something bigger than a pencil someday. Hey, how's with you and Riley? You guys seem pretty snuggly after class. Buffy, see above, talk, all talk. Willow, do I have to tie you two together? Buffy, we almost, but... Willow, get with it. I need my vicarious lovin'. Buffy, I don't know. I get nervous and I start babbling and he babbles. It's a babble fest. Plus every time we talk I have to lie. The Slayer thing comes up one way or another. It bothers me that I can't tell him the truth. Willow, it didn't bother you with Parker? Buffy, I know, but with Riley, I wish I could just come clean. Interior, the initiative, night. Forest. Well, you can't. Forrest and Riley climb out of the master pit, sweaty from exercise. They're in the middle of the same conversation. Riley, I know I can't, but it bugs me this time. Forrest, this is the burden we bear, brother. We have a gig that would invariably cause any girl living to think we are cool upon cool, yet we must Clark Kent our way through the dating scene and never use this unfair advantage. Thank God we're pretty. Riley, but it's just... Buffy is special. Forrest, you think she's special? Wow, the first 486 times you told me that, it didn't register, but now I see that you think she's special. Riley, see, you're naturally inclined to talk too much. I don't have that. Forrest, then get with the kissing. They enter the elevator. Interior elevator, continuous night. Riley speaks into the intercom. Riley Finn, elevator voice. Voice code accepted. The door's shut. Interior, Lowell House, moments later. Riley, I guess I just wanted to mean something. I don't want to kiss because we've run out of things to say. Forrest, that's actually kind of nice. Riley, what can I say? To another guy, I don't see that report on Thursday's maneuvers. By tomorrow you're going to be on latrine duty, and I'm talking about the Sector C latrines where we keep the big-ass demons, and you know what I mean, and you know I mean that literally. To Forrest, I'm a romantic. Interior Xander's basement night. Spike is tied to the reclining chair. Xander is just getting into bed. Spike, don't see why I have to be tied up. Xander, it's just while I'm sleeping. Spike, like I'd bite you anyway. Xander, oh, you would. Spike, not bloody likely. Xander, I happen to be very biteable, pal. I'm moist and delicious. Spike, shh. Spike, alright, yeah, fine. You're a nummy treat. May bless you. My dog is having a sneeze fest. You done? Lie down. Listen to the story. Xander, and don't you forget it. He turns out the light. There's a beat. Spike at Sonia. Xander, don't you care about me? Xander, shut up. Spike, Anya. We never talk. Xander, shut up. Beat. Spike, Anya. Xander. Xander, shut up. There are other ways I'd say it. Shut up. Interior, Giles' apartment, night. Giles sits with books and notes, pondering. Giles, they need to take 7. Take 7 what? Doorbell. Giles rises, answers the door. Olivia stands behind it. Giles. Olivia. Olivia. Sorry I'm so late. The flight was a horror. Giles. Bad weather? Olivia. Baseball movie. Giles. Oh, I'm sorry. Olivia. Yeah. That's enough small talk, don't you think? She wraps him up in a great big kiss, and we pan down to see his notes, focusing on the word gentleman written at the top. Dun, dun, dun. Interior clock tower night. Something's gonna happen. We see a small box, as from the dream. Bony white hands, a silent ritual. A wider view would show us we are behind an ornate, old-fashioned clock face. A second hand, big as a man, sweeping around behind the frosted glass of the face. But we may not see that much yet. We do see the box opened. Nothing but dark inside. We hear a whispering sound come from deep within. Exterior Sunnydale night. The whispering spreads over the whole town. Bless you. Exterior house night. And over this house. Interior child's bedroom. Continuing, where a small boy lies sleeping, suddenly opening his mouth as though to let out a huge breath with a small CGI mist that snakes out of him and up out the window, the boy never waking up. Exterior Giles' apartment, night. Here too the whispering. Interior Giles' bedroom, continuing. Giles and Olivia are asleep, and they too emit deep, sudden CGI breaths. Exterior campus night, still with the whispering. Interior Tara's room, continuing. Her room is Wicca-y and also painted black and depressed-y. She sleeps through her deep breath. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm room night. Deep breaths. Exterior clock tower night. From up here we can see the whole town, or possibly much less than all of it, but I can hope. And the collective breaths snake all across the town, heading here. Interior clock tower, continuing. And they all stream directly into the box. A hand closes the lid, and we tilt up to see one of the gentlemen. He's old, bone-white, bald. Nosferatu meets Hellraiser by way of the Joker. Actually, he kind of looks like Mr. Burns, except that he can't stop his rictus grin, and his teeth are gleaming metal. As he grins with satisfaction, blackout, and about 1. Can we finish this? 2. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm room, morning. Buffy wakes. She's had a bit of a thrasher. The blankets are askew, her foot sticks out, head near, but mostly under the pillow. She yawns, pulls herself up. Grabbing a towel, she exits the room, leaving Willow still sleeping peacefully. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall, continuing, morning. Buffy exits her room and crosses to the bathroom. Moments later. Buffy finishes washing her face. Drying off, she heads back out. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall, continuing. As she crosses back to the room, Buffy sees a girl pass by. The girl's face is lined with tears, her expression wide-eyed. She hurries by before Buffy can say anything. Buffy's gaze follows her all the way down the hall to see Angle, a boy at the other end, pounding on someone's door. After a moment, Buffy heads into her room, puzzled. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm room, continuing. Buffy is up, sitting sleepily on the side of the bed. Wait, did I say Buffy? I said Willow is up. Willow's up. Buffy moves to throw her towel on the back of her chair, saying, Buffy. Nothing comes out. She stops, says it again, tries to clear her throat. Willow's... I don't know if I should say this out loud. Probably not. Gets her no further. She freaks out a bit, tries to talk, looks at Buffy. Buffy. Willow. Buffy shakes her head, points to her throat. Willow goes to her, breathing hard. What do? They're both freaked. Buffy thinks for a moment, sticks her head out the door. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall continuing. There are 5 students gathered out here now, all reacting to the same malady. Buffy stares at them with growing concern. Interior Xander's basement, morning. Xander stands up into frame, having the exact same problem, contorting his mouth in an effort to get sound out. Spike is doing a much more civilized and calm version of the same. Xander stops. He points at Spike. J'accuse. Spike looks at him. Mm-hmm. Xander realizes that's idiotic. Thinks. Rushes to the phone. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm room. Continuing morning. Buffy re-enters as the phone rings, passing Willow, who's looking down her own throat in the mirror. Buffy picks up, remembering she can't talk. Interior Xander's basement. Continuing. As does Xander, who hangs up. Spike looks at him like he's an idiot. Riley lies in bed in the dark as Forrest throws the door open, moves to wake him. Riley comes to instantly, sits up. Riley. He stops, tries to talk, clears his throat. The by now familiar response. Forrest shakes him, points to his own throat, points outside, the rest of the house as well. Riley reaches for his pants. Interior Lowell house, a moment later morning. Riley is pulling his shirt on as he exits his bedroom, Forrest with him. Another guy is coming down the second floor stairs, looking confused. Riley and Forrest go down the steps to the ground floor at a good clip. There are maybe 5 guys there, confused, awaiting orders of anything that makes sense. Riley signals for them to wait there as he and Forrest proceed to the elevator. They stand before the mirror, let the green light wash over them. The voice says, elevator voice, retinal scan accepted. They react to the sound of a voice as the door slides open. They step in. Interior elevator. The door shuts behind them and they go down. Forrest scribbling something on a notepad. Interior elevator shut as the elevator plummets. Interior elevator. Forrest holds the pad out to Riley. He has written, "It's all over town." The two look plenty concerned and the elevator stops. Elevator voice. Vocal code not accepted. Please state your name for vocal identification. The two share a much more concerned look. Riley tries breathing on the intercom. Forrest rolls his eyes. Elevator voice. Vocal code not accepted. Unauthorized beings will be considered hostile. Please commence vocal identification in the next 20 seconds to avoid countermeasures. As the voice is speaking, Riley bangs on a panel, pops it open. There's a keyboard and wires there. Riley pulls a card from his back pocket, inserts it in a slot. The digital readout above the keypad reads, override code. Riley tries to remember. Forrest is too busy repeating, Forrest, countermeasure. Hesitantly, Riley begins punching in a sequence of numbers. Forrest frantically scribbles, elevator voice. Override code incorrect. 10 seconds to lethal countermeasures. Riley is trying again. Forrest holds his pad behind Riley with emphasis, though Riley doesn't turn to read it. It reads, come on, come on. Riley keeps punching code. He cracks a smile of, I'm totally fine. Can I say that? Elevator voice. Lethal countermeasures engaged. Ankle their feet as gas begins curling in from the corner of the elevator. As a last resort, Riley tries to pull the wires out of the goddamn box. And the lights go off. The door slides open. Behind it stands a none too pleased Maggie, 2 other scientists behind her. Riley and Forrest step out of the elevator. Forrest with serious alacrity. Joss, you know all these words, I don't. And stand before her. She points at a sign on the wall and turns and walks away, the others in tow. Riley and Forrest look at the sign before they follow. It reads, in case of emergency, use stairs. Interior comments morning. There are a lot of people here, but it's totally different. Quiet for one thing. People stand in groups, touching, writing things on notepads, all with questioning looks. The occasional person runs through the room in a panic. One girl is crying in her boyfriend's arms. Tara makes her way into the room, looking about her shyly. Someone drops a bottle of Snapple or some such. It smashes on the floor, startling everyone a bit. Sheepishly, the person moves to clean it. Tara looks about for someone. Not seeing them, she exits. Exterior Sunnydale Street. Day. Buffy and Willow make their way through the street. Needless to say, it's quiet, but nevertheless there is a great deal of activity going on there. The girls walk hand in hand, needing the feel of each other's presence as they take in the following tableau. The bank, which has a sign saying, "Sorry, we're closed." The liquor store, which has a sign saying, "Yes, we're open," and a line that reaches well out the door. A man in a business suit, sitting in the middle of the road crying. A car that is up on the sidewalk after smashing into the fire hydrant. A fountain of water shoots up next to it. A prayer meeting is being held in the nook by the magic shop. A preacher stands before a congregation reading silently from a Bible. Next to him, an old woman holds a small chalkboard with a chapter and verse written on it. Some 10 people kneel before him, also reading silently. As they pray, a young college student joins them, kneels. A man selling dry erase boards on the sidewalk, $10 apiece. They come with the Velcroed-on marker and a string to keep them around your neck. He wears one as demonstration. He's doing some business. The girls pass by it all, wary and watching. See dry erase guy and give each other a look. What a sleaze. Interior Giles' apartment, continuing. The gang's almost all here. Giles is at the table, researching. Xander and Anya watch the TV with the sound off, waiting for some kind of bulletin. Olivia sits with a good, strong drink in her hands. She clearly is the least prepared for this. She smiles politely at the girls as they enter, then takes a prodigious swig. Xander and Anya look back at the girls. She nods in greeting. He stands, starts toward them, a fact registered by Anya, who still questions his affections. But he stops, waves lamely, he has nothing to say, and turns back to the TV, perching on the arm of the sofa. Giles rises, puts his hand on Buffy's arm. Buffy returns the grip briefly, then looks at Giles, at the books. Anything? As she does, Willow determinedly scribbles on her board. She has something to say. Giles shrugs at Buffy, no lead so far. Willow holds her board out for him to read. It says, "Hi, Giles." He smiles and gives her a paternal one-armed hug in response. Buffy absently removes her board as she looks at Giles' notes and sees the ones from last night. Close on Giles' notes. We see the 2 lines, "Can't even shout, can't even cry." It clicks. Buffy silently groaning that she didn't remember it before. She picks Giles' notepad from the pile of books, holds it up, pointing to the top where he has written "the gentleman," gives him a questioning look. Again he shrugs, indicating there is nothing in the books. Xander snaps, trying to get their attention as Anya turns the TV up. Something has come on, the local newscaster with a special report. Everyone gathers around to listen. Newscaster, we have this breaking news item from Sunnydale, California. Apparently the entire town has been quarantined due to an epidemic of, as strange as this may sound, laryngitis. It seems the entire town has been rendered unable to speak. There is no word yet what might have caused this, or what other effect might be seen from this epidemic. Local authorities have issued a written statement, I should say, blaming recent flu vaccinations. A few skeptics call it a citywide hoax. In the meantime, Sunnydale has effectively shut down. All schools and businesses will be closed for the time being, and residents are advised to stay home and rest up. The Center for Disease Control has ordered the entire town quarantined. No one can go in or out until the syndrome is identified or the symptoms disappear. We'll bring you more on that as it develops. Xander mouths, "That's it?" Clearly frustrated. He turns the sound off again. Buffy takes her board from the table, writes on it, holds it up to the others. "Keep researching. I should be in town tonight." Giles mouths, "Why?" "Désolé. The battery died." Now, let's hope this edits together, okay? Interior, the initiative. Day. Computer voice. Because there will be chaos. Maggie has a computer set up with voice function. She types and it speaks. She sits in an impromptu command center in the middle of the room. A clear map of the town, computers, a table and chairs. Riley and Forrest, along with 3 others, sit listening. They have legal pads and Sharpies. Computer voice. You will help keep order. Dress as civilians. A military presence would only increase panic. Riley holds up his pad with the inevitable question, "What is happening?" Maggie types, computer voice. "We are looking into it. Go. Help maintain order. We will find an answer." Off the boys, doubting it. Exterior Sunnydale night. Buffy walks down the street, past a car that has hit a hydrant. Water gushes up above the car. In the background, kids are hanging out on a bench, blasting a boombox, and partying a little too hard. Buffy sees something ahead, stops. Reverse angle. Riley is by the bookstore. On the sidewalk, someone has started a trash can fire, and Riley is framed in front of it. He is getting between two businessmen who are in a fist fight. Riley tries to be nice and pushes one away sternly and effectively when he gets in his face. Buffy comes up quickly. Riley is turned to talk to the other guy. As his back is turned, the first guy picks up a pipe, but Buffy comes up and grabs his wrist, twisting it quickly and efficiently till we hear something snap. The guy screams and drops to his knees, Buffy never even stopping or looking at the guy. Riley has defused the second guy, turns to see Buffy. They fall into a strong embrace, look at each other. Riley, Buffy, no. She touches his face. They hear glass breaking down the street, and he indicates he should go. She nods, indicating she is headed the other way. They part as far as holding hands, then pull each other back into a kiss. He goes. Buffy watches a moment, then takes off the other direction. Interior, Buffy and Willow's dorm room, night. Willow has her laptop on her bed, is researching, coming up zeros. A few open books are laid out on the bed as well. Buffy enters, clearly beat. Willow looks up to her. Anything? By way of answer, Buffy just keeps moving to the bed and collapses face down into it. Willow sighs, goes back to her work, producing a silent but formidable yawn. Exterior clock tower, night, as 2 o'clock approaches. Exterior front door of the clock tower, night. We see only the bottom of the door as it opens, and a pair of feet float outside, just inches from the floor, shoes flat and together, very prim. A moment, and another pair floats by. Exterior street by clock tower, continuing. They approach from the clock tower, heading into town. 3 pairs of gentlemen, each pair with 2 footmen flanking them. The gentlemen float just above the ground. Grins fixed. 2 of them have spectacles, and they are various heights, but besides that, they are most similar. They split up, heading into different areas of town. Angle, suburban street, as one pair floats down it between the rows of silent houses. Exterior house, a typical suburban nest. 2 gentlemen float into frame from behind camera. They look at each other, then head for the front door. Interior Giles' apartment. Giles lies sleeping. Olivia with her head on his chest. She sleeps less successfully. After a bit she rises, pulls on his robe and pads downstairs towards the kitchen. She stops, hearing something outside, moves slowly towards the window. A glance to the sleeping Giles, then at the window, pulling the gauze curtains aside, peering out into the night. Angle, Olivia's POV. Through the window we see the dark street. It seems as though something is floating towards us from off in the shadows. We hold on it. And another one floats into frame, not 2 feet from us, grinning right at us. Olivia starts back, terrified. For a long moment she cannot move. Exterior campus. Another pair of gentlemen float by, footmen running behind. Interior, Buffy and Willow's dorm hall. The lights are off in the hall here. All is silent, and remains so as the grinning specters float into the hall, moving down slowly, craning their heads at every room. Interior, Buffy and Willow's dorm room. The girls sleep, unaware. A shadow moves under the door. Interior, Buffy and Willow's dorm hall, but the gentlemen do not stop. The one they want is not here. They turn the corner into interior other dorm hall and float down here, finally stopping outside a particular room. The taller of the 2 raises his hand and knocks. Interior boys' dorm room. 3 distinct knocks on the door wake the boy. A little confused, he climbs out of bed and pads across the room. He opens the door. They stand politely before him, horrors beyond speaking of. He cannot move, terror stretching his face, and the footmen grab him, drag him back toward the bed, and hold him down. Now he struggles, trying to shout for help, and the effort is soundless, useless. The gentlemen float in, the door closing behind them, and float to the bed, 1 on each side. The smaller of the 2 opens his doctor's bag and withdraws a scalpel. He hands it to the taller. They smile at each other, at the prospect of this fine harvest. The boy's mouth screams as they cut into his chest. Blackout. End of Act 2. Why couldn't the battery go there? Act 3. Interior clock tower. Night. 5 gentlemen hover together, rustling like tall grass, as the 6th, our tall one, places his booty on the shrine. It is the boy's heart, still fresh and sticky. He puts it in a chalice and we widen to see there are 7 chalices total, 3 of them containing hearts. He turns to his companions. Golf claps. Interior, Buffy and Willow's dorm hall. Morning. Buffy comes out of her room and instantly senses something is wrong. At the junction to the next hall, a pair of girls comforting each other. Buffy heads that way. Interior, other dorm hall. Continuing. Buffy enters to find more people. 6 or 7, most of them clustered around the boys' room. Buffy moves towards them, passes through. Interior, boys' dorm room. The lights are still off in here, and the shades drawn. Buffy enters, moves slowly to the body, looks down on it. Interior, Giles' apartment. Morning. Olivia sits on the stairs drawing. She's clearly still shaken. Giles puts a mug of coffee beside her, crosses to the door. He opens it, grabbing the morning paper from his doorstep. The headline reads, Brutal Slayings Shock Silent Community. In the subheading, 15-year-old girl found stabbed, heart was missing. Focus on the words, heart was missing. Something starts to click in Giles' mind. He looks at Olivia, who holds up her sketch, what she saw last night. Giles sees the picture, throws down his paper, and crosses to his bookshelf, scans the demon books until he finds a particular volume and pulls it out. The title reads, Fairy Tales. Interior lecture hall. The lights are low. It's dim but not dark. Xander is closing the last of the blinds. He heads down from the back to the front where the others are gathered. Buffy, Willow, and Anya are in the front row seats, Willow all ready to take notes. Giles is pulling the screen down. He has an overhead projector and a series of transparencies set up on the desk. Xander stands to one side, waits with the rest. Giles slides a transparency on the projector. We see it on the screen. On the screen, who are the gentlemen? Giles puts the next sheet on the projector. On the screen, a picture in Giles' borderline child drawing of a gentleman. With the heading, they are fairy tale monsters. Next sheet, on the screen, what do they want? Willow's hand shoots up. Before Giles can put his transparency up, Willow points meaningfully at her heart. Xander. Booby. On the screen, heart. Hearts. Incongruously sweet cartoon hearts. Giles places one on after another, tells a story thus. On the screen, they come to a town. 2 gentlemen on a hill overlooking a small town. On the screen, they steal all the voices so no one can scream. A gentleman with his hand out, pulling some smoke-like mist out of the mouths of a group of people. On the screen, then, a gentleman entering a bedroom. On the screen, a gentleman cutting into a sleeping man, kind of bloody. On the screen, the gentleman holding his heart up. There is blood everywhere. The kids exchange looks. Giles, getting a little carried away with the blood there, gives them pause. All except Anya, who finds the picture show kind of neat. She even munches from a bag of popcorn. On the screen, they need 7. Picture of 7 hearts. They have at least 2. Xander has scribbled on a pad, holds up for all to see. How do you kill them? Buffy snorts contemptuously, then circles her fist around an imaginary stake, plunges it down repeatedly. Everybody looks at her, a little thrown. The gesture doesn't read the way she intended. Realizing it, Buffy hurriedly and sheepishly grabs a stake from her purse, repeats the gesture. Everyone makes, oh, I get it, faces. Giles shakes his head, puts up on the screen. In the tales, no sword can kill them. A gentleman with several swords in him, still grinning. On the screen, but the princess screamed once, and they all died. The princess yelling her head off, gentlemen falling over dead. They cannot stand the human voice. Taking a deep breath, Buffy lets out her best yell, not a peep. Makes a that's not gonna work face. Willow goes frantic with an idea, reaches into her bag and pulls out a CD. Mimes a person singing, then a gentleman covering his ears in pain and then flopping over dead with his tongue hanging out. Giles is ready for that one. On the screen, only a real human voice. Picture of a gentleman perfectly happy with a gramophone playing nearby. Willow makes a fine whatever gesture. Buffy is written, holds up, how do I get my voice back? Giles shrugs, points to books, still looking. He places another sheet on. On the screen, Buffy will patrol tonight. Picture of Buffy, that Buffy finds less than flattering, with a crossbow. Buffy nods. Giles then points to himself and the others, then picks up a research book. Xander objects, points to himself, and mimes himself hunting with a rifle. Giles acquiesces, and Xander smiles happily. Everyone stands the show until concluded. Buffy crosses to the desk, picks up the picture of the gentleman, the first one, studies it. Interior the initiative. Day. Riley and the boys are suiting up. We see the papers with the headlines, but no other info like Giles has. Exterior Sunnydale night. Buffy patrols. Unlike last night, the streets are empty. No one wants to be out on such a night. Exterior street by the clock tower night. Riley does as well. Sees the clock tower. The bottom is boarded up and there is suspicious movement either downstairs or behind the clock face, depending on what we can manage. He starts towards it. Interior Tara's room night. Next to the book, we see a bunch of notes made out about spells. Another book lies open to the section Spells of Speech and Silence. Next to that is the school directory, with the underlined entry, Willow Rosenberg, Stevenson, room 214, and her phone number. Tara gathers up her books, heads for the door. Hand on the knob, she takes a moment to compose herself. Exits. She walks quickly through the empty campus, throwing glances about her. Naturally, she drops her books. We see her from behind, at a distance, stooping to pick them up. Two gentlemen float into frame from behind camera. Reverse angle. Tara is in the foreground, oblivious as the two leering specters approach, some 30 feet behind. Finally, she senses something, turns around. Angle. Tara's POV. They smile right at us. Their footmen coming out from behind them, loping our way. Soundlessly, she screams, abandoning her books and scrambling away. She heads for the dorms, turning a corner just ahead of the footmen, the gentleman bringing up the rear. Exterior Sunnydale night. Buffy stops, sees something. She spots a gentleman far away, and is suddenly jumped by two footmen. Interior third dorm hall. Night. Tara bursts in, running in a dead panic. She stops at a door in the middle of the hall, pounds on it, mouthing, "Help!" Interior girl's dorm room. Continuing. The girl whose door it is sits terrified in bed, not knowing what's out there. Interior third dorm hall. Tara pounds, and the gentlemen enter the hall, heading effortlessly towards her. She flees. Buffy throws one footman to the ground. She grabs the other by the head and twists its neck 180 degrees. It falls dead, and the other takes off, loping for home. Buffy gives chase. Interior ground floor of clock tower. Riley enters the dark space by the front door. He makes his way cautiously, heads for the stairs, and is jumped by a footman. He loses his rifle, which skitters across the floor. He pulls his telescoping baton from his boot and snaps it out to full length. Slams it under the back of the footman's leg, sends him sprawling. A second one leaps on him. Interior stairwell. Continuing, Tara runs up the stairs. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall. Tara turns the corner here and starts banging on doors. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm room. Willow is awake. She hears the running and the pounding. Hesitantly, she approaches the door. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall. Tara is pounding on the door. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm room. Summoning her courage, Willow reaches for the door. Interior Buffy and Willow's dorm hall. The door swings open in front of Tara. A gentleman stands behind it, grinning right at her, the heart of a student held in his bony hand. Tara starts back. Just as the first team of gentlemen reach the hall, their footmen come charging around them and head for the girl. Tara barrels down the hall. She looks back at her pursuers just as Willow comes out of her room. Tara slams into her and they both stumble, the door slamming shut. Quickly, they scramble up, head out of the hall together. Willow is limping from the crash. Interior stairwell, incredibly similar to the one Tara went up. They start down the stairs, moving as fast as they can, the footman hard behind. Interior ground floor of clock tower. Riley elbows one footman off him as the other scrambles back, jumps on him. Riley hits the ground, reaches for his gun. Angle by the door. The footman that Buffy was chasing comes in the door scared. He passes the boarded-up window, and Buffy comes crashing through, crossbow slung over her back like a rifle, tackling him. Riley reaches his gun, slams the button to the face of the footman. Buffy kicks her footman, throws another, reaches back for her crossbow, spinning. Riley comes up with the rifle. They are facing each other, her with a crossbow, him with a stun gun. They stare at each other. Blackout. End of Act 3. I have to charge the battery. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Act 4. Interior, ground floor of clock tower. Night. Staring. There are 3 footmen here, and now they attack en masse. Too close for weapons. Riley throws one while Buffy kicks hers. Riley gets his far enough away to blast it with an electrical charge. It keels over, spazzing out. Buffy fires wide as the third is on her, knocking the crossbow down. Riley turns and sees Buffy spinning, kicking to the head, then planting and driving the heel of her hand to the footman's chest, sending him flying back into a beam and snapping it. Someone told me we had a snapping beam. Riley is even more stunned. This girl is superhuman. He's grabbed from behind. Buffy sees one going upstairs, starts to take off after it, then looks to Riley. He seems to be in control of his fight, so she decides to follow. Interior, Giles' apartment. Night. Giles crosses out of the kitchen and into the back room with 2 steaming mugs of coffee, passing Spike, who opens the fridge. Spike pulls out a cup of blood, drinks deep. When he lowers the mug, he is in vamp face. Good blood. He crosses to the living room where Anya has fallen asleep on the couch researching. He puts his mug on the coffee table, knocking over some books. Peeved, he kneels to retrieve them. Xander enters, tired. From his point of view, it looks like Spike is bending over Anya's neck. Spike sits up. He's in vamp face and has blood on his mouth. Xander launches himself over the couch, taking Spike to the ground and beating on him. Anya sits up. What's going on? Spike tries to point Anya out, but can't make a sound. Giles and Olivia rush out from the back room, see what's up. Xander sees them, stops, looks over at Anya. When he finally realizes Anya is okay, he rushes to her, kisses her. Spike sits up, dully furious. Dully? Is that how you spell that? Anya smiles, pleased by his display of true caring. Coquettishly, she makes a circle with her thumb and forefinger and sticks her other finger in it repeatedly. Xander smiles and they take off together, leaving Spike, Giles, and Olivia a little grossed out. Interior, laundry room a moment later. The girls enter and slam the door behind them, lock it. A footman slams into it from the other side. Again, it's clearly going to give. In the middle of the room by a pillar, several feet in front of the door, is a Coke machine. Willow moves toward it, tries pushing it. Tara falling in to help. No go. She takes a step back and stumbles on her bad leg, going clumsily to the ground. She thinks a moment. Then, sitting up, she concentrates on the soda machine, stares at it, brow furrowed. Tara watches her. It shakes. It moves. All of an inch. Exhausted, Willow stops. It's too big. The door nearly slams off its hinges. Tara sits by Willow and slips her hand into Willow's, fingers intertwining. Willow looks up at Tara. A beat. As one, they turn to the soda machine. It flies back into the door like a cannonball. Willow looks at it, at Tara. She doesn't let go of her hand. Interior clock tower. Night. Buffy climbs up past the pendulum and into the clock tower. She looks to her right. There is the shrine of jars, 5 of them full. No sooner does she see it than she is jumped by 4 footmen. They wrestle her to the ground, and here come the gentlemen, the tall guy leading, scalpel in hand. Buffy struggles, but he is about to cut. His partner looks on with glee, the others behind. Then his partner is blown out of frame by an electrical blast. Angle, Riley is still behind the pendulum. He fires again, hits a footman. That's all Buffy needs. She wrestles free, kicking the footman away, and starts fighting. The fight takes her over to the other side of the clock tower. Riley fires his weapon, out of juice. He throws it down and takes on a couple hand-to-hand. The gentlemen stand off to one side, grinning but worried. Buffy is doing her best, but it's hard. Then she sees, Angle, the box. In the middle of the shrine, behind Riley. Flash, Buffy's dream. We see the box in the girl's hand. Buffy signals to Riley, who is blocked from her by footmen, to smash the box. He gets the message, grabs his rifle, and swings the butt down on a harmless incense bowl. Keeping footmen at bay, Buffy points to the box impatiently, mimes opening a box. Riley turns. Buffy is suddenly stabbed by a gentleman right in the arm. It throws her off, and she's knocked to the ground face first by a footman. Riley smashes the box, starts back as something, his voice, comes back to him. Buffy rears back as well, on her knees, very pissed, taking in a huge breath. The gentleman looked terrified. She screams. Long, hard, top of her lungs. The footmen fall to the ground in writhing agony. The gentlemen put their hands to their ears in as much agony, then go stiff, arms at their sides. Then their heads explode. Buffy and Riley look around them exhausted as the monsters all lie dead at their feet. Dissolve to Interior Commons. Day. There is a great deal of commotion. Kids playing, chatting. happy to be able to talk again. Willow and Tara found a relatively quiet corner together. Willow, you were there looking for me? Tara nods. I thought maybe we could do a spell, make people talk again. I'd seen you in the group, the Wicca group. You were different than them. They didn't seem to know, Willow, what they were talking about. Tara smiles shyly. Exactly. Tara, I think if they saw a witch, they would run away. Willow, yeah. So how long have you been practicing? Tara, always. I mean, since I was little. My mom used to. She had a lot of power. Like you. Willow, oh, I'm not. I don't have much in the way of power, really. I mean, most of my potions come out soup. Also, spells going awry, friends in danger. Definitely nothing special. Tara, no, you are. She looks Willow in the eye as she says it. She means it. A moment, and she looks away again, embarrassed by her forwardness. Willow, well, I thought we made a pretty good team. Not getting killed and all. With the soda machine, boom. Pretty cool. Seems like you're kind of powerful. Tara, I'd like to be. I feel like I'm stuck. Like I'm at the door and it won't open. Willow, I know exactly what you mean. The two share a sweet look, the beginning of a real connection. Interior, Giles' apartment, day. Giles and Olivia sit together. Giles, so would you say this was your best visit ever? Olivia, all that time you used to talk about witchcraft and darkness and the like, I just thought you were pretentious. Giles, oh, I was, but I was also right. Olivia, so everything you told me was true. Giles, well, no, I wasn't actually one of the original members of Pink Floyd, but the monster stuff, yes. Olivia, scary. Giles, too scary? Olivia, I don't know. Interior, Buffy and Willow's dorm room, day. The door is ajar as Buffy folds her laundry. Riley does a knock and enters. Buffy turns, stops. Riley, hi. Buffy, hi. He shuts the door, crosses to Willow's bed and sits. Buffy sits on her own bed. After a beat, Riley, well, I guess we have to talk. Buffy, I guess we do. They sit. Wait. Blackout. End of show. I hope you've enjoyed your bedtime vampire story with Elsa. What can I say? That was a long one. And my cat seems to want my attention. Good night. I will see you again later. Grr, arg.